ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فاتقوا الله ما استطعتم is the command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we should try our best to have God consciousness. We must strive our best to achieve highest status and levels with regards to obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, one has to have the priorities set. One must pay more attention to obligations than to, say, recommendations. One should have more significance in their hearts and minds for the obligatory stuff than they have for manners and propriety. However, this is with regards to the emphasis and the priority in the mind. One may opt to do certain simpler, easier good deeds, some sunans, the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, some minor details which may bring one closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then make them ready to fulfill the obligation as well. So, which on its own is not the goal, rather, it's a means to a goal to achieve the higher objective of fulfilling the obligation. So, for example, if one is struggling to pray 5 times a day, but he's quite easy with and comfortable with uh, offering two sunnah after dhuhr that he prays, or after maghrib, for example, he shouldn't be thinking, you know what, since I do not do my fajr prayer, what's the point of doing sunnah after maghrib, or nafil after maghrib or after isha? Since I do not do my isha, let me not consider tahajjud when I'm just staying up all night and I get this chance. That is not the understanding or the correct understanding of having the priority set. In my mind, I know fard or 5 prayers are much more important than my nawafil. However, in order to achieve that, which I'm struggling at the moment, if I build up little connections with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I get little spiritual upliftment with these little sunnahs here and there, I may be able to gather enough strength to overcome my nafs and shaitan and be able to offer the obligatory prayer. That is different. Here I am not giving more preference to nafil, rather I am using this nafil in my favor to achieve the target of obligation. To understand this in a simpler example of day-to-day life, where if someone gets unwell, they got some infection and they are taking some medication for that, and they don't feel like eating, they're completely nauseous, they feel sick, and when it comes to eating anything, they're like, you know what, I cannot stomach even a spoonful of this rice or biryani or something, or so it makes me feel sick. What do we do? Do we stop eating? No. What would you do? The idea is that obviously biryani and chicken and other things are much more healthier with regards to giving you strength and protein, and healthier in that sense means they have got higher caloric value, which you might need for example, your pneumonia treatment. However, since you feel so sick, it may be easier and more doable to allow you or suggest to you, you know what, don't have that, but at least have a little bit of porridge, a spoon of custard, a little bit of milk, a little bit of bread, or some shakes. And these things have not got enough calories that one would need, but they are the way to pave the ground for biryani and other stuff, which is much more beneficial and useful to achieve the caloric requirement. So if your protein level is so low, having a few spoons of custard is not going to compensate for that. But that's the beginning. That's the first step. To the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Doing sunnah on a daily basis. Little simple things. For example, sleeping on my side. If I remember that and I thought, you know what, this is sunnah, let me just do that. Although I haven't done my Isha. But that takes a lot of strength and I'm very weak and I'm sinful. So I know that that is more important. As long as I'm clear that Isha is much more important, staying away from haram is much more important. Not harming anyone, any other Muslim is much more harming, even non-Muslim, is much more important than by trying to do little cleaning on the street or taking or removing, a banana peel from this street or the pathway. But it is not a dichotomy. It is not mutually exclusive. As long as we have the priority set in our mind. So I'm doing it in order to achieve the higher level, to gather my strength, inshallah ta'ala. And then I would do what is more important as well as this little simple thing. It is easy to fulfill those little activities, sunnahs, and recommendations. So and gradually we build up the level to be able to come to the faraid and stay away from haram. Now, if one can do the other way, that's fine as well, as long as they do their faraid and they stay away from haram, alhamdulillah. But if they find it difficult, then they should come up with small activities, follow those sunnah, and they would lead up to faraid, provided that we have got our concept clear, as I mentioned before. May Allah give us tawfiq to understand. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.